Tobacco, the wondrous poison.
It looks fashionable when smoked or used,
And is quite impressive, especially in the hands of big stars and celebrities, isn't it? The history of tobacco is as wondrous as the product itself. It came, it conquered, and since then, it is ruling. Tobacco kills more than 7 million people worldwide every year. That is more than any disaster in the world ever. And much more than combined deaths occurring due to tuberculosis, AIDS, and malaria each year. Tobacco use and second-hand smoke exposure are major risk factors for cardiovascular diseases, contributing to nearly 17% of all cardiovascular deaths globally.
คือว่าในคนวัยหนุ่มสาวถึงปานกลางเนี่ยอายุ30ถึง45 ปีเนี่ยพบว่าการสูบบุหรี่เนี่ยทำให้เกิดโรคหัวใจและหลอดเลือดเนี่ยเพิ่มขึ้นถึง4 เท่าเมื่อเทียบกับคนที่ไม่สูบบุหรี่
Tobacco is used in different forms. People smoke it, chew it, inhale it, gargle it, and sometimes they even apply it on their gums.
It is during the teenage years that people generally start to smoke. And it is important because in Sri Lanka, 1/3 of the deaths which occur in the younger age group due to ischemic heart disease can be directly related to tobacco smoking.
WHO Southeast Asia region is home to 1/4 of world's smokers and more than 80% of the smokeless tobacco users. Every year, nearly 1.6 million lives are lost due to tobacco use, and nearly half of them are dying as a result of cardiovascular diseases in the region.
Indonesia is one of the highest prevalence of smokers. 1/3 of the population are smokers, and mostly men. And it's not coincidence that cerebrovascular disease, especially cardiovascular disease, is the #1 killer in our country.
Let me remind you that the cardiovascular risks attributable to tobacco smoking increase with the amount of tobacco smoked and the years of having smoked. Even if you yourself are not a smoker, exposure to second-hand smoke from people smoking around you increases your risk of suffering from coronary heart disease by nearly 30%. Tobacco is deadly in all forms. Tobacco affects most of the organs in human body, including heart.
Tobacco causes a lot of heart disease, and particularly in the young, we see a lot of patients with acute heart attacks we don't find any risk factor for coronary artery disease other than tobacco. And these are young heart attacks which are in the lower socioeconomic strata of our society, and they are consuming chewing tobacco. So it's mainly chewing tobacco or smokeless tobacco in some form, which is majorly our problem rather than a Western problem.
Let us understand how tobacco causes damage to the human heart. When you smoke, the poison directly goes to your blood, which goes to your heart through arteries. The smoke does not only damage the heart, it damages the lining of the arteries, leading to a buildup of fatty material, atheroma, which narrows the artery. Now this can cause angina, heart attack, or stroke. Tobacco contains nicotine, which is one of the most addictive substances available. Tobacco smoke contains nearly 7,000 harmful chemicals, toxins, and cancer-causing elements, including hydrogen cyanide, formaldehyde, lead, arsenic, ammonia, uranium, and benzene. All of these are extremely harmful chemicals and toxins. Smokeless tobacco contains nearly 3,000 chemicals. So, when we are smoking or consuming tobacco, harmful chemicals and poisonous gases progressively affect all organs in the human body. The heart and circulatory system gets weakened. In simpler words, tobacco is a poison. The carbon monoxide in tobacco smoke reduces the amount of oxygen in the blood. This means the heart has to pump harder to supply the body with the oxygen it needs. The nicotine in cigarettes stimulates the body to produce adrenaline, which makes the heart beat faster and raises the blood pressure. The blood is more likely to clot, which increases the risk of having a heart attack or stroke.
Prevalence of tobacco, and it is established fact that use of tobacco is a major risk factor for ischemic heart disease, which is number one killer in Bangladesh.
What about exposure to the second-hand smoke? Is it harmless to inhale smoke when someone else is smoking around? When non-smokers breathe in second-hand smoke, also known as passive smoking, it can be harmful. Research shows that exposure to second-hand tobacco smoke is a cause of heart disease in non-smokers, which means you could be harming the health of your children, family, partners, and friends. Let us also not forget that smokeless tobacco is also harmful to the heart. Long-term use of smokeless tobacco also increases the risk of dying from heart disease and stroke. This much damage with the poison we take, and still the use of tobacco is raging on. In modern hookah bars, shisha joints.
Tobacco used in any form, whether it is smoking, whether it is bidi, whether it is hookah, whether it is shisha smoking, which is becoming very popular with younger generation now, or e-cigarettes, all these are detrimental to the heart, and one has to avoid it and say no, 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 no.
You use tobacco in whatever form, be it cigarette, bidi, hookah, shisha, or any other product. You chew it or just suck on it. It is a poison, and you cannot change the effect of poison on your body by the way you are consuming it. Tobacco is a dangerous, addictive, toxic, and harmful substance in all forms. We need to work towards a tobacco-free society now to make our future generations healthy.
Tobacco is the only commodity that kills half of its users. Most of the tobacco users do not recognize about this linkage between tobacco use and cardiovascular diseases. So that's why for this year of the WHO World No Tobacco Day, we would like to emphasize on awareness of this link between number one risk factor and number one cause of death.
Save your heart. Save lives. Say no to tobacco.